And welcome back into GoBeWYO. Today we're joined by Cole Kennedy. Cole Kennedy is a race car driver up at the Sheridan Speedway. Cole, thanks for coming back on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. Well, I think let's just start out and talk a little bit about you. Let us know, where are you from? Are you from Sheridan originally, or where did you grow up, and kind of what was it like growing up there?
So originally I'm from Pennsylvania,
Okay.
right around Philadelphia. Lived there until I was 8, and kind of grew up watching my dad dirt track race.
Okay.
Moved out here because my dad, he'd come out here hunting and just fell in love with it.
Sure.
Rightly so.
Yeah.
So moved out here and pretty much grew up here.
Yeah.
I would consider.
Nice.
I grew up here.
Yeah, grew up doing all the same kind of activities, going out hunting, and yeah, perfect. So, what kind of hunting did you guys typically do most out here?
A lot of deer hunting, mule deer and whitetail.
Yeah.
In the last 5 years or so, I've started elk hunting quite a bit.
Okay, been pretty lucky to draw elk tags.
I've never actually drawn for a bull.
Okay.
I started putting in the last 2 years and haven't drawn, but I get a cow pretty much every year.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
just a general or yeah.
Yeah.
Nice, awesome. Yeah, it's hard to get elk tags around here. I haven't put in yet. I need to. I meant to this year, and I forgot to. I missed it. So I feel like a bad Wyoming native not putting in for an elk this year. But well, that's awesome. Okay, so you grew up in Pennsylvania, watching your dad race on a dirt track. Is it pretty popular out there?
It's hugely popular.
Yeah?
Popular.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about that. What was it kind of like growing up watching your dad race? Did you know kind of from the beginning that was something you wanted to do?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I was pretty young, so I didn't really understand a whole lot of it. I didn't help him a whole lot with the car. It would just be, Saturday night we load up and go to the track. And
yeah,
I know when I was real young, I didn't really watch him race.
Okay.
I more just played in the dirt with my cars. But as I got a little older, 6, 7, 8, I started to get more interested in watching him. And yeah, it just caught my attention.
Yeah.
I was asking him at that age to buy me a car, and he's like, "We can't do that, buddy."
Yeah.
So yeah, it was always something.
Yeah.
I wanted to do.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Chomping at the bit to get in the car, 8 years old. That's pretty exciting. When was the first time you were able to get in a race car and drive a little bit?
I was 17, so back in 2015.
Okay.
I had just graduated high school, and they had just opened the track here. After like 15 years of being closed down.
Yeah.
So when they opened it, my dad was like, "Well, I want to get a car." So he got a car and ran it a few times and asked me if I wanted to race it, and I was like, "Well, of course I do."
Yeah.
So he let me drive his car and just fell in love with it.
Yeah.
Less than a month later, I had bought my own car, and that's where it kind of started.
Yeah. Perfect. Oh, that's awesome. So tell us a little bit about the cars then, because last time you were in here, you were explaining there's kind of two classifications, right, that race out at the Speedway.
There's a few.
Okay. Okay. So what are, I guess, kind of walk us through that a little bit. What do you race mostly, and then what are some other ways that or other types of cars that people race out there?
Okay. So what I run is it's called a street stock. Basically, it's my specific car. It's like an 80s Monte Carlo body. The frame is all tubular, custom built.
Sure.
Roll cage and all that.
Yep.
And we're pretty limited on engine rules. It's got a 350 small block with a cam in it and, a good carburetor, good heads, but nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
For the most part, it's a stock car.
Sure. Okay.
And then there's other classes. There's mini stocks, which are basically like an older 4-cylinder. You see a lot of Pontiac Sunfires and stuff like that, where people just beat the windows out of them, weld a roll cage in, and go.
Yeah.
And that's more just go out for fun or go out to see what it's like on the track.
Sure.
And then there's B mods and A mods. The B mods are they're modified.
Okay.
They're a little more aggressive looking car.
Mm-hmm.
And they have more to the engine. Well, the B mods, they're actually the same exact engine rules as my class, street stock.
Okay.
They're just about 600 pounds lighter.
Okay.
And they can do a little bit different stuff with the suspension.
Sure.
So they're a faster car. And then the A mods are, they can go almost all out with the engine.
Yeah.
They're pretty high horsepower cars, very aggressive. Then every once in a while we get late models, which are kind of a big-bodied car, but similar to the A-Mod in that they're very high horsepower, really fast cars.
Okay.
A lot they can do with the suspension and that sort of thing. And then sprint cars, which you might know a sprint car if you saw it. They're kind of a small go-kart looking thing.
Oh, okay. Sure.
With
Yeah.
a big wing on top.
Okay.
Those guys are extremely fast.
Yeah.
And they're actually racing here this Sunday.
Oh, okay.
There's a touring series called ASCS. They're making a stop in Billings and then coming through here.
Okay. Cool.
So
Nice. No, that's awesome. So aside from the sprint cars, do all the others kind of race in the same circuit, or do they have their own kind of circuits and dates that they're racing?
Pretty much every other class that I mentioned, besides the late models, they're kind of irregular.
Okay.
Mini stocks, street stocks, B mods, and A mods, they're regular.
Okay.
They race here and Billings, all the local tracks.
Okay. Yeah.
Very regularly.
Sure.
Late models are kind of, here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Some people around have late models, but usually it's not a very big turnout for that class.
Okay.
And then sprint cars, that's like once a year.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Cool. Very cool. Let me see here. I wrote a bunch of these questions down here. So last time you were telling us you were wanting to get, was it an A mod? Or you were wanting to your next car was going to be one of those modifieds. Is that right?
yeah, so a B mod.
Okay.
Which I actually have sitting at my house.
Okay.
And I plan on racing that a little bit next year.
Mm-hmm.
Not full time. I'd like to get the state championship in the street stocks.
Sure.
Which right now I'm second place in state points.
Okay.
There's a guy that I can't seem to catch. So I'm actually doing some pretty big changes to the car this week.
Yeah.
To see if I can turn that around.
Yeah.
But next year I'd like to really push for getting the state championship in the street stock.
Sure.
And get the B mod together and run that a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Just get it out and see what I can do with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So tell us about the points then, and kind of that, because there's a lot of people who enter in from Billings, right, and out of town who come in and race their cars here. What is kind of the end goal of some of those guys who are coming in from out of town, and then maybe some of your own goals too? I mean, I guess maybe just elaborate on that kind of process to that state championship.
Okay. So the guy that's in first right now, he's actually from Bozeman.
Oh, okay.
Which he's chasing national points. Mm-hmm. He's sixth in national points right now.
Okay.
So he's doing it for the national point side of things.
Sure.
Which I don't know what goes into that. If
Mm-hmm.
there's good payout, I'm sure there is for placing.
Yeah.
My side of things, just pride.
Yeah.
A sense of pride and accomplishment.
Yeah.
Just to say I did it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure.
But I'm sure everybody has different motives, whether it be money or getting sponsorships or, moving up to the next level of auto sports
Mm-hmm.
or motorsports.
Sure. So if this guy who's in first now from Bozeman, he gets enough national points, what would he possibly move on to? What would be like the next kind of series of races for him?
Well, I mean, there's like touring series that travel around, whether it be regionally or nationally.
Sure.
Could move up to that, or could just move up to another class.
Okay.
And change up what he's doing and try to get national points in that class.
Sure. So national would that be like eventually racing NASCAR, or is that kind of even a little bit further out there after national points?
I mean, it's not far fetched.
Mm-hmm.
If you're placing in national points, you get attention.
Yeah.
And I think racing on the NASCAR level, that you kind of have to, unless you have deep pockets, somebody kind of has to reach out to you and say, hey, would you want to drive my car?
Right. Yeah.
So, and I know I don't know a whole lot about NASCAR, but I know there's different levels to it. There's NASCAR and then 2 or 3 steps below that.
Sure. Yeah.
But kind of in the same realm.
Yeah. Cool. So then tell us about how you earn points. Kind of how do you get points so you're second right now in the state. Yep. How do you earn points racing and competing? What are some specific ways that you can earn points while you race?
Really just consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Finishing races, showing up for every race and finishing every race.
Okay.
And especially if you're finishing up front every race, that's a big deal as far as getting points. I'm not exactly sure how the system works, but I know consistency is a huge part in it.
Okay, sure. Do you know, like, is it like if you finish first, you get X amount of points, and then second X amount?
I would imagine so. Like I said, I don't know a whole lot about the system.
Sure.
But I would think so.
Yeah.
For winning a race would give you more points.
Right. Yeah.
And then as you go down the ladder,
drops off. Yeah. Sure. Oh, that's awesome. So second place. When is the state tournament usually, or that is? I guess how's that? Is that like one final race to determine the winner, or is it just whoever has the most points throughout the season?
Pretty much just whoever has the most points.
Mm-hmm.
There's not really like a finale.
Yeah.
There is. It's called the Wasota 100.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big race where the best of the best go, and it's usually in Minnesota, I believe.
Okay.
And that's like, your track points leaders or your state points leaders usually go to that race and
sure.
Kind of compete. So I guess that could be considered, you know, the tournament or the finale.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, as far as state goes, it's just wherever you end up.
Yeah, sure. So is there like a final race? I guess what kind of caps the season then in Wyoming? How long does the season typically run? When do you start racing, and then when do you typically finish racing?
So this year we started, I think April 23rd was our first race, and our last race is going to be September 20-something.
Okay.
So
you still got about 2 months. Actually, 2 months from yesterday or tomorrow. So yeah, okay, perfect. That's cool. So you race locally here in Sheridan. Do you go up to Billings at all? Because I know Billings has a track, right?
Yeah.
So you go up to Billings every now and then and race, or just?
Yeah, every now and then.
Yeah.
I went up there about a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't do well. I didn't finish my feature race.
Okay.
Which is okay. It's a good experience just to go up there and race with a different group of drivers.
Sure.
But other than that, I've ran once in Gillette.
Okay.
Last year. Other than that, those are the only 3 tracks that I've raced at.
Yeah. Well, and I imagine it's a long drive to find, to get to one of those places. So being able to find a time that works in your schedule, and then do you have to pay to enter into those races too?
Yeah.
Is that fee usually pretty manageable, or?
It's $30 pretty much everywhere.
Okay. Yeah. All right,
unless it's like a special race.
Sure.
Then it might be up to $45.
Yeah. So that's not bad. I mean,
no.
Yeah. Well, perfect. Awesome. And so tell us about the track then. What kind of, we said it's a dirt track, but, for people who haven't been, how would you explain it to them?
So it's probably about 100 feet wide.
Okay.
It's 3/8 from start line to start line.
Mm-hmm.
It's got banking in the corners. There's 2 corners. Straightaway. It's an oval.
Right. Yeah. It's just your loop,
Yep.
your basic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a clay oval.
Sure.
So.
Sure. Yeah. And then you got people. Is there seating all the way around, or people just kind of pull up their their vehicles and watch from their vehicles?
So there are grandstands on the front stretch. They're not very big grandstands.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, people pull up in their vehicles and either tailgate or
Sure.
sit in their driver's seat and watch.
Yeah.
Which is pretty unique.
Yeah.
Not many tracks do that. Usually
Right.
It's just big grandstands.
Yeah. Yeah. I was, my parents showed me some videos because they were out there. I think they had set up a booth or something, but they took some cool videos. And yeah, I mean, you're just kind of sitting looking right over the kind of the ring a little bit, and then you guys are racing around there, and that's pretty awesome. And it's got to be just loud as hell, right?
Oh, yeah.
That just that's cool. You just hear the engine, the revving all the way around there. So that's awesome.
If you got kids, definitely bring earmuffs.
Yeah, yeah. Perfect. So let's walk through then kind of the race start to finish out at the Speedway. What's kind of the first thing that happens, and then the last thing? What's kind of the order of events there?
So order of events is usually like the lowest horsepower class to the highest horsepower. Basically save the best for last.
Yeah.
So usually it'll be mini stocks, street stocks, B mods, A mods, and then late models or sprint cars if they have them.
Sure.
But so to start out the night, you'll have heat races for each class. And usually there's about 6 cars in a heat race. And that heat race is 8 laps long, and it determines your starting order in the main.
Okay.
So every class runs its heat races. You have an intermission about 20 minutes to go grab food or whatever, and then you start the features, and that's every car in each class.
Okay.
Separately, of course. So you'll have every car in the mini stocks, every car in the street stocks.
Right.
And
yep.
That's usually a 20-lap race, and that's usually a normal night there.
Okay, so they run all the heats first, and that determines your position for where you're going to place for your race, which is after all the heats go through, and then it's just 20-lap races from that point on for each class.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, and then so you're racing in the street stock classification. What typically where's that at in the lineup? Is that which race is that usually in the night?
That's usually either the first or second race.
Okay.
It'll be the first race if the mini stocks aren't there.
Okay.
Which has been happening pretty regularly recently. I don't know why.
Yeah.
If we just don't have the cars or.
Sure.
But yeah, it's either first or second.
Okay.
Race of the night.
Yeah. Awesome. So this past weekend you guys raced, right? This last Sunday, or was it two Sundays ago? Okay, so 2 Sundays ago. How did you do that night?
Pretty decent. I got third place.
Okay.
Just 2 Montana guys that I couldn't catch.
Yeah.
But the car was hooked up. It was a fast car.
Yeah.
I was a little loose, which means pretty much I didn't have the traction I needed through the corners.
Okay.
My wheels were spinning.
Sure.
Couldn't get the power to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what caused those 2 guys to pull away from me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, the car was phenomenal.
Yeah.
So
nice. So what's kind of the typical strategy then on the track? What do you I mean, I guess I don't know. How would you what's the strategy? What's the way to get ahead on the track? Cuz I saw some from the videos. You guys are kind of drifting into the corners, right? And then drifting out of them. So what's kind of the strategy there?
It changes every weekend. It all depends on the track condition, really. So if you get a tacky track, which is basically like sticky,
okay,
you got a lot of traction. That's it's a lot of people in the racing community call it a horsepower track, because like I said, you have traction, and it's kind of whoever's got the horsepower and whoever can drive with it is going to be up front.
Sure.
On a dry slick track, which is what it was the most recent race, that's more of a driver track. And that it's hard to, you got to find a line, which is basically figure out where on the track has traction.
Sure.
So once you figure that out, just try to be consistent and hit your mark every corner. and then work from there. You
Sure.
know, try out, maybe go a little higher in this corner and a little lower in the next corner, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, figure something else out.
Yeah, right. Yeah, try something else.
Yeah.
So, oh, that's awesome. You know, I didn't really grow up watching racing. My dad loves racing, and so we watch. We've actually been getting into Formula One, and so kind of, you know, keeping up with all of that, and just, you know, talking about the new car that's coming out this year. So that's pretty exciting, and it's fun to have kind of a slice of that here in Sheridan, to be able to, for people to come and enjoy who just like watching it, or for people to participate in who just want to put their car together and go out and race it. So
Yeah,
that's
definitely
really exciting. So I want to ask you about this, because I saw the video from Sierra when I was at the shop a few days ago. There was a spin out that happened, right? Or there was a close collision.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that.
So he's a friend of mine, Joe Hando. We went into turn 1 and 2, and he was a little bit in front of me. I came out of 1 and 2, and all I really saw was he spun out in front of me, and I had no time to react other than slam on the brakes.
Yeah.
So I locked him up, and like I said, I had nowhere to go. It was either into the wall or hit Joe.
Yeah.
And I got pretty lucky. I ended up stopping probably a foot from his car.
Yeah.
Which it could have been really bad if I had hit him.
Yeah.
Or if somebody had gotten into me from the back.
Right, someone had rear-ended you, because it looked like a little bit of a pileup there, right? Because he spins out and you slam on, and he's kind of going more towards the middle of the track from what I saw, and into the way of the other racers. So, but these are they pretty typically safe? Is there, you know, I mean, I haven't heard of any big wrecks or crashes or people getting injured out there, but typically pretty safe here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All the cars are really well built. And it's required to have a 5-point harness.
Okay.
That's up to date.
Yep.
I think they're good for 2 years.
Okay.
So they're pretty strict on safety regulations.
Yeah.
I know one guy broke his foot. He hit the wall like head on.
Oh, okay.
Destroyed his car and ended up breaking his foot.
Dang.
That was probably 5 years ago.
Okay.
So other than that, I really haven't heard anybody getting seriously hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, bruises from your belts if you get into somebody.
Sure.
That'll happen.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the cars are extremely safe.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Well, and what's like the top speed that you probably hit out there on the track?
So myself, I hit about 76 miles per hour.
Okay.
That's where I have a rev limiter in my car, which is required for my class.
Sure.
And that's where I hit the rev limiter is 76.
Okay.
So
yeah. So I mean, fast, but not terribly fast. So at least for race cars, right?
Right.
So yeah, for people watching, that's pretty quick. But no, that's awesome. So that's good. That's good. You didn't get hurt. Nobody else got hurt there at that. You know, it's kind of, it was crazy to see. I know Sierra said she was a little freaked out. I mean, I'm sure you were too. Just, you know, I've had that feeling driving down the highway and then there's a deer, you know,
Yeah.
You're like, oh God. So no, that's perfect. Let me see here. I don't know if I've got any other questions. I think that was kind of what I wanted to ask you. You know, we talked about the different classifications, the different kind of cars that are out there. Your car, who are some of the sponsors on your car?
So I've got Alpha Graphics. Inyarrick is a very good sponsor, and also who I work for.
Yep.
I've got the Wrench Ranch, YO Squared, YO Drawn. I'm sure I'm probably forgetting somebody.
Yeah.
I can't thank my dad enough. He's helped me out a ton.
Yeah.
Like I said, I know I'm forgetting something.
Yeah.
But
I guess let's talk about that for a sec. How's that relationship with your dad? Because you grew up, your dad was racing, and so now he's helping you out. What is what's kind of his role in your team?
He basically he helps me out with setups. tell me this will work, this doesn't work, and just kind of guides me.
Yeah.
He's I keep trying to talk him into getting a car again.
Yeah.
But he's like, I just have so much fun watching you. So,
yeah.
Pretty much he's my pit man.
Yeah.
He's my help.
That's good. That's good.
So.
Yeah. Oh, that's got to be fun too. Father, just something to bond over and to just have some fun together with. So.
Oh yeah.
That's really cool. Does he give you kind of some helpful tips when you're out there on the track, or is it just kind of car setup, or just all around? Yeah.
Every weekend he'll critique my driving.
Yeah.
I can always expect to get some kind of
Yeah.
critiquing from him.
Yeah.
Which is, it's helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
When I first started racing, I was kind of like, shut up.
Yeah.
But as I've raced more, he's done it a lot longer than I have.
Yeah.
So I listen to his pointers now, and
yeah,
usually it does me good.
Nice.
So.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah. No, that's awesome. Having a helpful teammate there, and then being able to pick up on some wisdom there too. That's awesome. So one more time, that's Cole Kennedy out at Sheridan Speedway. Where can people find you? Do you have like a racing page or Instagram or?
Yeah, so I actually have an Instagram and a Facebook. Both are Kennedy Racing Team.
Okay.
Which I know on Facebook there's a couple Kennedy Racing teams. So it's a white and purple Monte Carlo.
Okay.
So.
All right. Perfect. That's on Facebook and Instagram, and people can follow you there, and you're keeping them up to date. Kind of some cool stuff there. Maybe some behind the scenes stuff of working on the cars, or
not too much of that.
Yeah.
I want to get into that, but it's just hectic.
Yeah, who's got time, right?
Yeah,
no,
that's a lot to squeeze in.
Yeah, for sure. So. Awesome. Well, Cole, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. It's been this week's been crazy trying to schedule it, and so I'm glad we were able to get it hammered in, locked down. So,
yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.